Go live yet.
Well, hello, Bishop.
Hello there, my brother, Minister Broderick. How are you this evening?
All is well. I don't know whether to welcome you first or to welcome the people, but if you're watching right now, and obviously you are, welcome to Right Minds. I am somewhat of the co-host, but the man that we look to lead us and who's going to help us and answer a lot of questions today and share from his wealth of experience, not only as a pastor, not only as a worldwide speaker, not only as a husband and a father, a businessman, entrepreneur, investor, and executive sower, but he is a writer and a publisher. And so he's going to be answering a lot of my questions, and I hope those questions will be helpful to you. My name is Broderick. This is Bishop Dion Middleton. He's the senior pastor of the Harvest International Church in the Baltimore, Maryland area. So this is going to be exciting. Our format is somewhere time-wise between 45 minutes to an hour, unless I get all extra and start asking questions. And we want you to feel free to ask questions in the chat when we get around to it. So I want you to like, share, tag, comment. We invite you to do that. Some of you know what I do. Some of you may not know what I do. I'm a comedian. I am a preacher. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I'm an author. And thanks to Bishop Dion Middleton and his team at Eye to Eye Publishing, what I do is easier, more enjoyable, and I'm more expectant in the process. So welcome to Right Minds. As you're coming in, put in the chat where you're from. Whether you're from Los Angeles, Texas, Paris, France, Nairobi, Kenya, on the continent of Africa, wherever you are, if you'd be so kind, just put in the chat where you are from. Okay, this time is already flowing. So we don't want to lose any time. So we're going to move forward, but we wanted to give you at least a little insight as to who we are and what we do. Bishop, if there's anything you want to say about yourself before we get into what we're doing here, is there anything you want to say about yourself?
No, sir. You can dive right into it. I'm ready to. This broadcast is designed by us, but for the people, and I want them to be able to get everything that they came on here for. And tonight, I would just like to welcome. We added our LinkedIn audience, as well as our Facebook and our YouTube. So I want to welcome them tonight. And tonight's going to be groundbreaking and life-changing.
Now, you know what's funny, Bishop? You know, I'm sitting here, you know, you're not really a man that runs his mouth that much unless we are on God assignments. I want to say thank you to your team, your lovely wife, as well as my niece, Ariel, who uh, does the graphics for this particular live cast, as well as a lot of the things that I do. And I don't always pay. Oh. That's, I sold though. I
Mm-hmm.
sold, but
Mm-hmm.
she have mercy on her unk. Bishop, you and I have talked about this for over a year. I remember last year in February, I was discouraged. I was somewhat despondent, and either I called you or for whatever reason you called me, and I had a book that I wanted to put out.
Mm-hmm.
I had put out 3 books before, but I was having challenges with this particular book in terms of finding a publishing company, getting the draft overlooked and ready and what have you. And I called you.
Mm-hmm.
I told you what my situation was, how I was feeling, and I just became stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And you helped to unstuck me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now, as I said, I had experience with several other books that I put out, so
Mm-hmm.
that helped me. But there's some people, Bishop, and I know you know, who are watching this broadcast and they hear us talking about writing,
Mm-hmm.
authoring,
Mm-hmm.
penning a book,
Mm-hmm.
publishing a book. They're going to hear us talk a little bit about promoting a book. And Bishop, they're sitting there looking at this screen
Mm-hmm.
and saying, Shh, y'all talking about putting out books. Man, they're saying, I, I don't even know the first step to take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some people, Bishop, who they got several pages scribbled up.
Mm-hmm.
They almost forgot where they put the pages. And so I want to ask you this question. Why write? Why? Why should they write? I mean, come on now. You know, well, hey, they post it on social media every day
Mm-hmm.
on all of the platforms, and they get a lot of people saying things. Why write? Why write?
It's ironic that you say that, the why. What most people don't realize is that they are a walking answer to people who need assistance or help that they might not otherwise know, especially in the social media area, platform, and genre. A lot of people, I've connected with people via the mechanism. And here's the thing about why we are phenomenal at what God has assigned us to do. That's the
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing we have to understand and realize. And that if God puts something in us, eventually he would like it to come out of us because he's got other people in mind. So you might think you're just doing something. I'll give you an example. My sister-in-law, or my sister in love, she was sending out texts, and this is we're talking about in the last year or so, but she's been sending out text messages, encouragement every day for at least that I can count 3 years. And so I'm sitting up here saying, you're sending out these text messages, everybody's getting them and say they like them or they love them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, watch this. I said, you need to put that in a book. You need to, number one, you're going to memorialize these texts. And number two, it now makes you an expert at the area of encouragement. Now, that's her area. Now, if she's an expert at the area of encouragement, my thing is, why not write the book? Because now, to everyone you meet, you're an expert. And so, my thing is, write, and it's notes. Um, and we think that our notes are futile. I have journals all over my house that I have had for at least 20 years because, and probably longer, because before I even became a preacher, let alone a pastor, my study was always involved with notes. I got notes and notes and notepads that even when I was dating Pastor Natasha, she would see me with my Bible and my notepad writing down notes. Now, what happened? Eventually, you become an expert to help people that you've never met. So don't discount what you have in you. You can begin to write. Now, my thing is we'll put at the end of this session a way that you can schedule to do the author's class, because everything you're not going to get in this 45 minutes. But I promise you, whatever you invest in the class, the timing and everything like that, it will help fortify you to be an amazing person. Now watch this, sir, because
Mm-hmm.
everything has a purpose. I have this book right here. It's called Future Bestsellers. It's a journal. And what I did is I put as an outline how to write the thing in here. You might not be able to see it, but at the top, I put the book title, the chapter title, the
Mm-hmm.
summary, and then the outline. Now, here's the thing. Some of y'all trying to write books like think you got to write a book like Bishop Jakes or Joel Osteen or Miles Monroe. That's these enormous sized books. Now, I ain't gonna bust your bubble, but everybody don't read every page of the book. But here's the thing: I teach you, but I give you a tool to show you that literally your book should be no more than 7 to 10 chapters. That's all it should be. So
Mm-hmm.
now, how do you do that? Well, we got to give you more of the steps. We just need to give you the courage first, and then we can give you the steps. Because if you don't have the courage, giving you the steps not going to help you.
All right, Bishop, I'm glad you said that
Mhm.
because I want to put some common excuses that I have both heard of and used myself, and then I want you to speak to those. Um, Bishop, I don't have, watch this, I don't have a college degree. Hold it, Bishop. I don't have a college degree, Bishop. Oh, here's a good one. Um, Nobody knows who I am. Uh, I don't know where to start. Oh, here's one of my favorite excuses. I don't have the money. Bishop, um, I just, you take mine and put it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would do. Yeah, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. So I just named 4 or 5 of my favorite excuses,
Mm-hmm.
as well as some of the most popular excuses that I've heard people share with me. Would you address those? I don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to start, because then okay, how do I get a draft? How do I get an ISBN number? What is that? Talk to the person who, even after having heard you say that in your initial statement, that your book is a walking what?
It's a walking business card.
Okay, you had said something else earlier as a
Uh-huh.
base. I should have written that down.
Uh-huh.
But you said it's a walking. Also, you said it's a memorial. Also, you said it makes you an expert.
Yes.
You shared that with me privately many times.
Mm-hmm.
But address those different excuses. Oh, I don't have the money. I don't know where to start. I don't have a degree. Don't nobody know me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Speak to that because that's real, isn't it, Bishop?
Oh, it is absolutely real. And here's the thing that normally happens is I don't have a degree. Well, if I told you everything with my story, I laughed because when I was in 5th grade, I had a teacher had me stand up in class and said that I would never amount to anything. Now she
Mm,
was older. She was older then. I said, Lord, raise her up to let her see what nothing looks like.
mm,
Here's the second thing. I went to school, and my English teacher, who ended up being the dean over at Morgan State. Well, we called it Morgan State then. I think they just call it Morgan University. He
mhm,
ended up being
mhm,
the dean. I wrote a paper for English, and he said, In most classes, this would be an A, but in mine, it's a C minus.
Mhm.
Okay. So here's what happens. That could mess with my psyche if I allow what other people say or demonstrate to be able to do this. But here's the one thing I recognize. Number one, you said I've never written before, but here's the thing. You have a story.
Mm.
You have a story, and your story should be your message. When I meet you and you start talking to me, you get excited about the message that you share or hear. Now, here's this one thing. Whenever, as in pastor mode or evangelist mode, when I go out to minister, I'm not really. I don't ever give the latest and greatest message that comes up. Literally, from what God gives me to share in an environment, it's going to work in the environment that He's given it to me for, and it's literally model the message. That's the message, and it comes off in different forms. I was able to do the graduation for SOFBI this year, where my pastor,
What is that, Bishop? What is SOF?
Spirit of Faith Bible Institute,
Okay,
Doc,
and who's that under?
Dr. Freeman, Dr.
Uh,
Apostle Michael A. Freeman.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was able to do it, but it wasn't going to be a traditional. Why? Because whatever God's given me to say, I'm going to make it grow to make it fit where I'm going. Now, the only reason I'm saying that to you is you have a message within you that you can remain consistently the same. Now, and so the object is we need to find out how to get it out of your heart to get it on paper.
Mm.
That's the start right there. And here's the thing: stop trying to write the perfect book when you
Oh,
sit down with a pen, because there is no perfect book. There is none. If I showed you all my notes, when you see my book is typographed. I have an author coach, and she told me how well it was, and I laughed. She said to me, she said, this was hilarious. She said, "Now tell me the truth." She said, "Tell me the truth, King. Are these chapters in order on paper like they are in the book?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "The last chapter was the first chapter on paper. The object is all I had to do was start writing." And I'm gonna give you a simple format, and this is a freebie I'll give you. When I said your book is 7 chapters, the first thing you're supposed to do, you write the title, then you write the summary on what you want the book to accomplish, because you should know that, because that'll help you define your audience. Then you list the chapters that you want to write, and then you go back into the chapters and begin to put meat on that bone, is what you do. And you'll find out how simple it is to begin to write some of the stuff that you're writing, because you're trying to sit down and write the whole manuscript. And some people can do that. They're very effective at doing that. But if that's not you, you're going to have to go the route to help you build the book.
okay.
Because
So Bishop, to be clear,
Mhm.
I do not have to have a PhD in English literature.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we can my God. Okay, and then what you're also, it seems like what you're saying is that I don't have to have a staff of 5 assisting me in the process.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay, now here's a big one, because this is my favorite excuse. I ain't got all that money, Bishop. Now, see, you have millions of dollars over there, and
Mhm.
you have a staff of people as well as people at your church, and everybody's, I don't have all that. You mean to tell me without millions of dollars,
Mhm.
without a staff and a big old warehouse, you mean to tell me, ooh, here's another one.
Mhm.
Or do you know some of the mistakes I've made?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so I'm asking for clarity before you get into specifics.
Mhm.
You mean to tell me I can still become an author of the book? I can write a book?
You
Come on, talk to me. Talk to me specifically about those things, because somebody's watching, somebody's listening,
Mhm.
and man, I'm telling you, with everything you've said so far, which is excellent and most helpful, and it is definitely believable
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
are a working, living, breathing, oh, can
Absolutely.
I use this word?
Absolutely.
Resurging
Mhm.
author.
Mhm.
Okay, so look in that camera,
Mhm.
if you will, Bishop, look at them
Mhm.
and tell them, respond to those excuses that I drummed up.
Let me tell you. Here's a philosophy I've lived by. I got this from a pastor. Excuses are a crutch for the uncommitted.
Uh
That's that's
oh.
that's what
Uh oh.
excuses
Say
are.
that again.
Excuses are crutches for the uncommitted. That's what they are. Because here's a reality. No one that I'm gonna put it out blank, period.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I started something, I didn't have money, but I had an idea.
But you're a pastor and you have a staff, and people know you. I've seen you on the internet at these big engagements. Somebody saying, I'm not like you, Bishop. I got 3 kids, and I'm working 2 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just trying to make ends meet. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You
You
already have
Mhm.
20 books out.
Mhm. But here's the thing that I want people to understand. Never look at where I am to determine how I started, because
Woo!
how I even started was I had now I'm gonna go back with you on this. When I started this thing years ago, I had an IBM computer.
Mm, good
And
Lord.
and most people don't even know what IBM is anymore. And when I had an IBM computer, I had a small 14-inch monitor, which was small back then. And what happened was I had an idea to begin to take some of the sermons that I did and begin to put them in mini book form. And so what happened is I used my printer because I didn't send them. My first ones I didn't send to the printers because back then printing was expensive. Right now, printing is very affordable right now to what you desire to do.
But at that time, come on, tell us about
Yeah,
take 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 somebody right now back with you when you first started, and you didn't have all the tools. They need to hear that.
I didn't have it. I'm gonna tell you what I did. I went to the. I didn't have the tools. I had the computer. I had the printer, and I went to Staples, bought me some hardcover paper to print my book covers, and a long staple that I spent $30 for. And I was my own, watch this, printing and publishing company right in my basement. In my office is where I am. And everything I did, I was able to utilize with no resources at my availability, but knowing, watch this, that I had something that needed to be said. And because I had something that needed to be said, that's what I went on. Now I'm gonna tell you how powerful about having something that needs to be said. I had a couple of pastors that literally, one pastor plagiarized two of my books by going and putting his name on a cover. He made it wasn't even a regular cover. At least I designed it a little bit to do whatever, because
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
told me how valuable my content was, that it was plagiarized. But here's the thing. I had something to say. I didn't have the resources to say it, so I figured out the resources to say it. Now, here's where you have an advantage at. I had to print those things back then. Now, ebooks are such a great thing. You can watch this, you can write something and you can make it available for ebook for download on a
Oh,
PDF.
okay. You giving them too much good stuff. I want you to make them wait for that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
they gonna have
want
to
I
wait.
wanted I wanted to get into your headspace. Like I think I know. Listen, let me tell you something. Even now,
Mhm.
there are books I should have put out earlier this year, and there's no excuse. But sometimes I have my excuses, and sometimes I don't discipline myself as I should. Sometimes I'm afraid, and fear is basically, and I don't like this. I don't like the fact that this is true about me. What fear is in me, what we call fear is really our unwillingness to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because maybe we said, well, I don't know the exact outcome. Listen, Bishop, look
Mm-hmm.
at me.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew I was going to make $1 million
Mm-hmm.
the day I finished the manuscript,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'd be a writing somebody. But somebody right now
Mm-hmm.
is saying they heard you, they're hearing me, and they might even be laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just saying, I hear all that, but Bishop, here's another thing. Somebody's saying, it goes back to what you just said a few minutes ago. Somebody said, I wrote a book, and somebody stole my idea, changed up a few things, put their book out, and I know they made at least a few $1,000s.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody says, I tried before, I put $500 or $600 into it. And man, I only sold 20 copies.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, man, I ain't doing that no more. I don't have no $600, $500, or even
Mm-hmm.
$400 to be putting in it, and I don't have no money. This stuff don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Cupcake. So this is the person that said, I did what you said do,
Mm-hmm.
and I only sold 25 copies. Somebody said, I did what you told me to do, and somebody I let read the book, they took off and basically repackaged it, just changed a few things, and they doing good.
Mm-hmm.
See this? And that's why I don't write, because hey, this happened to me. Hey, watch this, Bishop. Book hurt.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Did you hear what I just said, Bishop?
I heard what you said, and that registers.
I said book hurt. What do you have to say to those people who have done in general?
Mm-hmm.
They took that first step. They wrote it all down.
Mm-hmm.
They went and got the book cover made. Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Took some of the mortgage money.
Mm-hmm.
Took some of the kids' money out the piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote that book. Put it out. I mean, they didn't have no publisher. They didn't have no team. They put out and sold. What's it? Sold 25 copies.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it. Listen, Bishop. They sold 25 copies and gave 15 away.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of their so-called friends bought the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it went in there and basically took all your material. Mm-hmm. I know somebody might say you're taking a long time on this, because I know I'm reaching somebody who fits this experience. And then somebody else, they just basically refreshed it. They knocked it off, and they out there making some good money, essentially on your material.
You know what you here's what you can't do, because I say writing and being an author is about it's the long shot, it's the long story, it's the long game. You're not just in it for what happens immediately. You have a long game to this. And even though if a person steals one idea, watch this, the book came out of your mind, right minds. And so the next book that's come out your mind, see, that's why you need an author coach, and that's why you need the class, because in the class, I show you how to protect what you've written. I didn't know about that early on, about how to protect my content. Which literally means that you could sue them for whatever they made, plus whatever they would potentially make.
Okay. I'm going to have you hold off on that, because I want you to tease towards the end. I want you to tease the course. Okay.
Yes.
So I asked the question, why write?
Mm-hmm.
Then I asked you, Bishop, I presented to you my excuses, because my excuses normally do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I find those excuses that sound noble. to make someone almost say, "Oh, I get it. I see why you're not writing the book.
Mhm.
Uh, I get it. Shoot, yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with you. I wouldn't write a book either." So I wanted to bring those things out. But I want to ask you now, Bishop,
Mhm.
and if you're just tuning in, welcome to Right Minds. This broadcast is to encourage writers. No, 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 no. Not perfect, as Bishop said. Not one of them. No, no, no. We didn't say it had to be a 500-page book. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But we're talking to people. You have an idea,
Mhm.
you have an experience,
Mhm.
you have a revelation. I like what you said, Bishop. You said it comes from your mind.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and we're not going to give y'all all of the goodies, but we
Mhm.
do want, there'll be a way for you to get that.
Mhm.
But nothing of great value comes cheap. But
Mhm.
we wanted to get your attention to, first of all, to let you know, and you know who you are,
Mhm.
that you may very well be a writer. We want to encourage you to write. One of the
Mhm.
first things that Bishop came on when he said these, he said, your you writing is a walking testimony.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. That idea.
Mhm.
Listen, and all books are not the same.
Mhm.
Bishop writes some what I call sequentialized
Mhm.
books
Mhm.
to where he has various chapters. I
Mhm.
am a quote book writer. That's
Mhm.
my niche.
Mhm.
That's my groove. That's my cut. I wrote this book, and this is the book that Bishop helped me with in terms of finding a good printer, doing my manuscript. Once I came up with my content, doing the manuscript, uh, when I needed a pre-sale flyer, you know, and getting my ISBN. But don't get lost in that, because those are things that you can be concerned with once you have some content.
Mhm.
But if there's anybody watching right now, I want you to put in the chat or say to yourself, if this is true about you, I am a best telling author.
Mhm.
I'm going to say that again. If this is true about you, I want you to write in the screen or announce to yourself, I am a best telling author.
Mhm.
Bishop, go into something you said, and if you will, I
Mhm.
remember you told me something.
Mhm.
I had my book, and it's a thin book, but I was excited about this book. This is my pattern,
Mhm.
but I was a little concerned because people would tell me that little book,
Mhm.
that ain't no book. Oh man, what have you? Look, oh no, and and you told me something that I'll never forget. You told
Mhm.
me, you said it's not about the size of the book. You said it is the quality of the content.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not the size of the book. Because keep in mind, I didn't actually have a book. I mean, I
Mhm.
had the content, but everything wasn't finished.
Mhm.
And even without you seeing the manuscript,
Mhm.
you told me, hey, this is something to go with. Now keep in mind,
Mhm.
I'd already put 3 books out, but I was a little discouraged.
Mhm.
Uh, sometimes when you put your money into something, your energy into something, your effort into something,
Mhm.
and you have to be careful if you don't make $1 billion or hundreds of
Mhm.
thousands of dollars. Sometimes the thought will come into your head, and discouraging things that people have said, including the devil,
Mhm.
will begin to echo.
Mhm.
Okay. Would you address, you talked about it earlier when you said, hey, you don't have to have some big book, but if you would go back to somebody, let me tell you who encouraged me back in the day. There was a gentleman by the name of Dr. James Edward Henry.
Mhm.
He wrote a book called Happy as the Man. He wrote this book back in the 80s.
Mhm.
It was a very simple, almost nondescript book,
Mm-hmm.
but it was from the book of the Psalm.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got a hold of that book in the 90s, and I just held on to it because it was a touch point for what I believed I wanted. Casey Treat, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Murdoch, they
Mm-hmm.
would write these smaller books or booklets.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember seeing some of your big old thick books. I said, wait a minute. I don't know. I don't know if I can, measure up or, maybe, he might look at what I'm doing and say, Broderick, go and do your little comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you said that's something. Would you talk about, I know you talked about it before, but somebody's looking at my book right now, and I'm not trying to sell the book. Yes, I
Right.
am. I want their excuse to be nullified simply because I'm showing this little
Mm-hmm.
booklet, but I take this booklet with me almost everywhere I go to perform, and it sells.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get into sales right now. That's going to be on a different
Yeah.
one, and it
Mm-hmm.
might be a private coaching session with either Bishop or myself. Bishop, why did you tell me it's not the size of the book, but the quality of the content? Why did you say that to me?
Because I said that because what I have grown accustomed to is, and a word that I always put out is fillers. Some people just want to fill pages to make the appearance that it's a great book because it might be thicker. And so now when I look through your book based upon your assignment, I'm like, it's your content. You're not providing, we are never making available the size of the book. We are making available the content that's in the book. And the content that's in the book is normally is what's life changing. You don't need a lot of pages to change people's lives. You just need enough pages to get them to be hungry for the next stage or level of their life.
Mm.
You know, and so now whatever you write, see, the thing is you have something that's attractive. And you mentioned Mike Murdoch, and Mike Murdoch says this, Mike Murdoch literally said to pastors, you should write a book for every sermon that you preach.
Whoa.
That's what he literally said. He said you should write a book. And I'm sitting up here saying, I got a lot of catching up to do if that's the case of doing that. But here's the thing, it was his content. His content wasn't thick, but it was effective. Your content didn't have to be thick. I read it. It was effective to say, this is his assignment. This is who he is. That's the part I want the person that's the writer to understand tonight. Just provide quality content. Now, I'm going to throw this out for you for your audience.
Mm-hmm.
You might, the problem that might have happened to you is you writing a book and expecting your family
Uh-oh.
members to buy your books. Okay, I feel like the want the old Baptist priest to come on me. I stopped by to tell you, 12 books later, I've
Mm.
never had a family member buy my book, but I've had my audience buy my book because who I was after was an audience. And so your book, you got to know who the audience is that you're after, and they will appreciate your content as opposed to criticizing size.
Okay, but wait a minute. But you forgot I don't have a doctorate degree.
Hey, that's the
You
best
wait a
part.
minute. You forgot I had a child out of wedlock. You forgot that I did prison time. You forgot that I'm HIV positive. You forgot that I'm black in America. Are you trying to tell me, with all of that in play, I
Mhm.
still qualify to write a book to become a best-selling author?
Absolutely. Because
Wow.
here's the thing, we have never been taught, and hear me out when I say this,
Yes,
to
Bishop.
profit from our pain. We've never been taught there's profit.
Mm.
Okay. I can say this, and this is all with love and respect. I said, I said, what Kurt Franklin did was brilliant. Now, I've been talking about doing documentaries for the last 6 months, especially because I believe legacy wise, we need to say in our own voice to the generation after us why we made some of the decisions that we did. Okay, what he did was brilliant. He's got an album and a tour that's coming out, but the documentary was first. Now, I don't know his pain, but I know stories like his.
Hmm.
Someone helped him because his pain actually helped other people. It helped other people. You got to understand that your pain can help other people, but if you keep with that, we gonna keep it private, then you're not gonna ever do well. I don't have a copy here, but I wrote a book on how to overcome rejection, and I talk about these keys on how to overcome rejection. The rejection started as a family thing. People trying to figure. I'm like, I'm trying to get people free. I ain't trying to worry about people's feelings because there were many people that were dealing with rejection. Now, if I've overcome it and I failed to tell you how I did it, then I've done you a disservice. I didn't have a master. I had a master's degree in being rejected.
Mm.
I I didn't have the master's degree in the writing, but I had the master's or the doctrine in living through the story.
Okay, so a publishing company didn't give you a $1.7 million advance,
Not at all. Not at
and you
all.
still put the book out
I still put the book out.
with
And
with no master's degree.
mm,
And okay, so
now watch this. I have this one here. This one you'll see it. I'll try to figure out.
just
It's called
tell us the name of it, Bishop,
okay. This one
and
is
show it
called
to us. We want to see.
Going from Overlooked to Overbooked.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now, see, I didn't. I know you had that book, but I didn't know you had it.
Yeah,
That title alone. I
yeah,
think I told somebody that last week, and
yeah.
I told them it wasn't mine, so I'm not plagiarizing.
No, no, it's all
What
right.
What is that book about? If you don't mind taking a minute.
Not a problem at all. This one, Going from Overlooked to Overbooked, the making of a six-figure speaker, and all is what the subtitle is. Now, here's the thing: you got to understand. I didn't have a degree. Uh, I read the scripture concerning David, and I
Concerning
identified
what?
David, who was later king of Israel.
Okay, yes, sir.
And David was out in the pasture tending sheep while his brothers was in the palace being waited on hand and foot thinking that they were going to be king. David was overlooked for a long time, that even when Saul came looking for a king, he looked at the other boys, told Jesse they not it. Now watch this. I'm about to address when you don't come here right. You got to really study the scripture because David was the product of Jesse's side chick.
Oh,
That's
oh Lord. You listen. Oh, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead. You
no,
you
that's a
you know you're wrong for this, right?
hey, look,
Now this ain't everyday information.
no, it's not. And people
Okay,
will
go ahead and finish. So
people,
now that piece right there, they
yeah,
they ready to fight you right now. Somebody ready to fight you because go ahead. So that wasn't that David was the child, a love child.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's exact. And you're focused on how you got here as opposed to why you here.
Mhm.
And I want people to focus less on how they got here and more on why they were here, because the right all it takes is the right person to come and identify you and see you, and it doesn't matter how you got here. It doesn't matter. So my assignment was growing up in ministry, all this time growing up, being a third generation pastor, a lot of other things. There was the appearance of watch. I told you, profit from your
Mhm.
because I turned my pain into profit. But I did it with the auspices that I'm going to help other people.
Mhm.
So I put in this book principles that cause people to now come and look for me. And that's what Saul did for David. He came looking for him. he didn't have to go and be sought after. He was sought after doing the last thing he was supposed to do.
Bishop,
Mhm.
do you think, and since we're talking about, do you think, I think it's an awesome segue, do you think Samuel knew he was looking for David?
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I heard somebody say Samuel didn't know. He knew what he was looking for, but not necessarily who. Of course, he went on to say that the oil knew.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it right there.
But
That.
what you're saying is, what I feel you saying is, be authentic and true to who I am as much as I know that to be,
Mhm.
and what it is that I'm doing. And I know this is not grammatically correct, I will get found.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because that's how this happened. Because I have stories. If you go on my social media page, I have stories. I had this book, and Why You Need a Mentor, when I was speaking, and this book took me to the Bahamas. This book took me to speak in Dubai. Now, remind
Mm-hmm.
you, all I had was a message. That's all I had was a message. I didn't have the start. I didn't have any money, but then I invested in an author coach that helped me to use my message to create a message in writing that would literally be designed to help other people. And so now when I'm in the Nassau, Bahamas, how long
Okay, wait a
ago?
minute. They flew you in.
Yes, sir.
They had ground transportation for you.
Well, I got let off right near the facilities.
Okay, so and they covered your hotel and
Well, I was on a cruise ship. I stayed on a cruise ship.
okay, but you were
Yeah.
compensated
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for what you were sharing.
Mm-hmm. And it started with a book. It
Oh,
started. It started with someone got a hold of my book, and they went and told somebody else, and then they said we need to get him to hear more about what he has to say. And all.
so wait a minute. So you wrote the book, and the
Mm-hmm.
book you wrote spoke for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every page of it. Now, here's the thing: I'm modifying it to include my research principle because research, and I don't want to get too far into that,
Right? Yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah, they're going to have to pay you for that.
they're going to for that. But here's the thing, Bishop, because I dared to say what was in my mind, and I dared to write it down in notebooks. I dared to do that. I'm getting contacted about doing podcasts just on that subject alone.
Mm,
Why are you looking for me? Because something that I said you've been waiting on. And that's
mm.
why you need to write, because it's not the family members, it's not the friends, it's not the people you grow up with that you're writing this for. There's another sector of people that is your audience that will be God breathed and God designed, and they're waiting on you to write the book so they can benefit. Watch this, either from your strategies, from your results, or from your pain. That's what people are looking.
Stress, either from your strategies, your results, or your pain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, it's interesting to hear you say this, and we're going to transition in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to hear you say what you said about this. What are at least two of the traps that you would admonish us to be careful of
Mm-hmm.
in this process? So, um, we obey the first instruction. We go ahead and we say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm overlooked now, but I'm gonna start writing. I want to give us at least two dangers, two caveats for the bougie people that we need to be aware of as we begin our journey? To give us two warnings, things
Mhm.
to be on the lookout for as we take these initial steps to
Right.
write.
Don't, the first thing is don't write for the money. Your message will bring it. Don't, because
Say that again. Don't
if
write for the
don't
money.
write for the money,
The
your
message
message,
will bring it.
yep,
Oh,
because you can become easily frustrated in the beginning when you don't see the money or you see the investment exactly the investment you had to make to get to a certain place. My thing is my stuff came into as an investment. And what I want you all to realize, you all are assigned to people that you don't even know. When when
ooh.
watch this.
Say that
When
part again.
you are
We
assigned to
are
people,
what?
you are assigned to people that you don't even know.
Break that down. Just give me an example. Give us an example.
Oh, absolutely. Because there are places, for example, there are places that via I've seen you in social media and so forth like that. And I've seen what people have said about what you shared or what they've said about your book, and so forth like that. And I said, the beauty of that is when he went to write this, he didn't know any of those people. However, he was assigned to the people that he didn't even know.
Man, I don't want us to get into a Bible study, but good Lord.
Yeah, because
What, listen, can I say, like I heard him say in the street, where they do that at?
here's the second thing with that, sir, and this is where I want others to understand is that someone will believe in what you're doing. You don't need a lot of people, you just need the right people
Mm.
to believe in what you're doing. And you're trying to get everybody to believe in what you're doing as opposed to the right person, because most people don't know the story how we started this. Okay, this wasn't on my radar. When Broderick said what he wanted to do, I said, all right, all right, all right, I know what to do. I'm gonna help him, and so forth. Now, I want you all to understand. I had, because of my own stuff I had going on, not business wise, just emotional wise. I said, I'm retired, is what I said. And
Yeah,
and
you
and
did.
I told him flat out, I'm retired. He told me, he said, you can't retire. I'm like, well, who is he to tell me I can't retire? I'm retired from this. And then
No.
and then you said, no, there are people that need you. And yeah, exactly. And all of that registered with me, that even when I saw your content, I didn't know all that you had been through prior to getting to me.
You're right.
I didn't know all of it. But here's the thing, when you know and hear from God, you don't have to know everything. All you have to know is, okay, this is a connection to fulfill something greater than what we've ever seen. And so now when you're on tour seeing the books, I'm smiling because I'm like, he said he got this out. He got it out. But he wasn't afraid to be vulnerable how he was feeling at the time before all of that was going on. And so it took me to come along and say to you, because I knew what people were going to say. That book ain't big enough. How you gonna charge this for that? I already knew what the answer was to that. You're not paying for the size of the book. You're paying for
Mm.
content. And,
Listen,
mm,
that helped. That was so huge
mm,
at that time.
mm,
Um, and then I didn't know.
mm,
I remember one night I went to sleep and you had encouraged me the night before.
mm.
I woke up to see the money that you had sown. Now, keep in mind, there's no book yet.
Right, right, right.
There's no completed product,
Uh-huh.
and you had sent seed
Mhm,
towards more than one book.
mhm,
And man, and the flyer.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and that meant so much to me. You listen, it meant so much to me. I needed that push and I needed that money.
mhm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Speaking of which, as we come, we're gonna have to do this more often. We
Absolutely.
we we got to do this once a quarter, and I'm gonna get with your staff,
Yes, sir.
and they will help me
Mhm.
get you available for some time.
Yes,
We
sir.
got to do this at least once a quarter
I
because I
agree.
believe, people are being helped by this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you could just share from your experience, Bishop,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even have to go into your deep notes. Uh, uh, because some people are going to need some more. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to need specific A, B, C, D steps, one,
Mm-hmm.
two, three, four.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to need, like I did, they're going to need to hear your audible voice as well as the resonance of your mind and the spirit of your mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's one thing here on this general level, but it's
Mm-hmm.
another thing if they can talk to you
Mm-hmm.
by themselves. You
Mm-hmm.
can take the time or you can
Mm-hmm.
set them up on a schedule. But what we want to do now is, I know what I want to do is, first of all, because we want to stay within our hour,
Mm-hmm.
we want people to want to come back and not say, good Lord, when they're going to finish. But we want to take this time and I want to lead in it and sow into this man who sometimes when I just think of you, just knowing I have you on my side, it is so encouraging. Even
Mm-hmm.
when I'm on the road and then
Mm-hmm.
somebody come by and say something about my little book, I hear you in my voice saying it ain't about the side. And sometimes the one person that say something negative about my book, I, I can't say what I really want to say sometimes. What I really want to tell them, move out the way because I want to say this and move out the way. You in the way the person already got their $20 in
Mm-hmm.
their hand. I
Mm-hmm.
want us now, Bishop. I don't know if your information is on the screen. I have it in my phone, but I want to lead us in sowing a seed into you. What's this? In expectation of our writing dreams. The
Mm-hmm.
information that you have shared, some people will watch this
Mm-hmm.
whenever they watch it, and they will be encouraged and inspired. But I want to sow, and I want those of you so I don't care whether it's $10, $20, whatever it is. I want you to join me. And if you say, "Oh, I don't want to sow nothing," I don't appreciate what he said. That's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to sow. I'm looking for. I know your name is in here because I
It,
know you're my
it's
catch up. And if I don't
it's on the
find it
screen
while I'm
right now.
if I don't find it's on the screen,
It's on the screen right now.
awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
want you all to join me in sowing into this man. He didn't ask me to do this. He never asked me
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
to do anything. That was not our agreement. But
Mm-mm.
I listen. I know how to value a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to some of these coaches, they're charging, and rightfully so, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and sometimes even okay, I found you, even thousands of dollars. What
Absolutely.
what I know that is, if somebody charges me hundreds of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
that means that what I have to offer, if I take what they say and
Mm-hmm.
utilize it properly, it
Mm-hmm.
can position me uh, to make hundreds and hundreds of dollars, thousands and thousands of dollars over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because once you
It,
get that nugget, that one thing
absolutely.
he said to me that really helped me
Mm-hmm.
uh, is that when you said it's not the size of the book,
Mm-hmm.
it's the quality of the content.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm gonna take that with me, and then you sold into me. You made sure all of my excuses were gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You wanted to put me in the best position to succeed. I want to do this while I'm on camera. I want you to sow that seed, whether it's $10, $20, sow it into him. So what I don't have, you heard something. You heard something that encouraged you, that answered a question. No, we don't get offline and then whatever come in, this your cut, this my cut. No,
Mm-hmm.
I want to sow. Cause one thing I've learned,
Mm-hmm.
that who you honor. When you honor the right person,
Hmm.
you get that right harvest.
Exactly.
Okay. And that harvest is not just, we're not talking about $1 billion. It's beyond just what money can buy, as Bishop McClendon would say. It is information,
Hmm.
revelation, insight,
Hmm.
answers to questions that you didn't
Hmm.
even know you had.
Hmm.
So I want us to sow right now, and then we're going to go. And then I want many of you to share this. I'm not that technically uh smart or astute, but I know how to share or tell
Hmm.
people go to this page. All right. So I want to thank everyone Bishop. I want to thank you. This
Hmm.
went by so fast, but people will be able to come back and hear what we've said. And we're gonna have to come back before this year is over.
Hmm.
It's September now.
Yeah.
We might have to come back next month or
Hmm.
early November. I don't know what your schedule is. I'll check with your
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
But we want to say thank you to you, Bishop, for your time, for your
Hmm.
insight. Now, Bishop, tell them where they can get your books. Is all your information in the screen?
Well, my particular books, because they're being reprinted and reloaded, you'll be able to get them on my website,
Okay,
Rodney
what is that
Middleton.
website, Bishop?
Uh, I'll make sure they put it in the screen to show you where to get it from. Because
What
here,
is your email address? Just in case they want to reach out to you. Some people may
okay.
want a private consultation.
Oh, that's perfect because I actually set something up this year that through Calendly that would give you where you can sign up for a session.
Okay, well then, Bishop, can you just tell them? Like I know what my
Yeah,
email is.
yeah. This is my email that you can reach me to, and the reason reason I choose this one is I keep what I do for the church impersonal, separate than what I
Yes,
do with
sir.
the business.
Wise man.
You
I
know,
should
because
learn from you.
no, mine's were lost. That was the problem. Mine's were getting lost.
Yes,
And so
sir.
if you reach out to me with that, you're gonna get a thing that says it'll respond within 72 hours because that's the way we set it up. But for the most part, I respond before then. It doesn't get cluttered, and
Yes, sir.
whatever your question is, then you could go ahead and do that. And then I know that the staff have something for me that I'll probably put on my later. It's a mobile app thing that if they want to
Yes, sir.
contact me, but email me and leave me your contact information and your topic, and I promise you I'll get back to you.
Or somebody on your staff showing up will.
Yeah, that's normally you'll hear from them before you hear from me.
Hey, listen, and your
Can you
staff
get a
is
witness?
awesome. They answer a lot of questions
Yeah,
before I even get to you,
yeah,
and I respect the fact that that is in place. Bishop,
yes, sir.
on behalf of Bishop Dion Middleton, I'm Broderick E. Rice. I want to thank you all for joining us for Right Minds. I want you to look at what we said. I mean, just take one sentence that the bishop has said or something that you've heard and begin to move on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think at one point we're going to have a private workshop to where we give you the nuts and bolts. We'll literally have tools available. And if you sign up for that, then we'll walk you through. And then you'll be able to ask the bishop question. You'll be able to
Yeah,
ask me some questions. We'll let you know when that is. But on behalf of Bishop Dion Middleton, Ariel Middleton, myself, Broderick Rice, thank you for tuning in for Right Minds. And we look forward to seeing you next time, which may be next month or November before this year is over. Follow my page or Bishop Dion Middleton's page, and you'll be able to find that out. Thank you so much.
and
And we
here's the
will
thing
see
too.
you
Yeah,
next time right here on Right Minds. Thank you, Bishop.
thank you, sir.